How's it going, guys? My name is Jimmy Champane and welcome to the second Chuck date of this week. As promised, we just got the second trailer for Child's Play, and today I'm gonna break it down, tell you what I like, tell you what I don't like. Oh, and I almost forgot. Thanks for clicking on my video. First things first, I loved the vast majority of this trailer. Pretty much the entire time I kept saying to myself, this is shot really well. I like the diversity of the set pieces, and I gotta say, the costume design is on point. It's just overall a really well-made looking movie. I also love that even though it was such a brief glimpse of Andy in the trailer, he was already tugging at my heartstrings. The idea of him and his mom moving to a new city where he doesn't have any friends and he pretty much has to start over, only for Chucky to swoop in and kind of be this best friend he's never had. It not only explains why he would want a buddy doll even though he's a little bit older, but it kind of feels like the perfect setup for this movie, and it's exactly what they've been selling to us for months, so I'm glad that they delivered on it in this trailer. On top of that, Chucky's betrayal being the catalyst for Andy making friends with and teaming up with the other kids in his apartment building is such a smart decision. It might seem a little cliche to some people, and honestly I have no argument for them, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but I eat these stories up. I love Stranger Things, I love It Chapter 1, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Goonies, so if they're pulling from those types of movies and TV shows, I am so on board for that. That's exactly what I wanted out of this from the very beginning. I was really surprised with how many kills we got to see in this trailer, or at least how many were hinted at. From the very beginning, I've been predicting that Kazlan is going to sort of be like Amazon more than Apple, in the sense that instead of just making phones and computers and watches, they also make thermostats and lawnmowers and other devices that connect to the internet that don't necessarily need to, and that's going to be the sort of monkey's paw twisting in, where Chucky is going to be able to interface with those devices. There are a ton of shots all over the trailer that let us know it's going to take place in late fall or early winter, basically between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and of course there is a kill where a guy is dragged into a snowblower after he's wrapped up in a cord of Christmas lights, and I'm a sucker for stuff like that. Kind of reminds me of Gremlins. I'm all on board for a movie set in that time frame. I feel like it's also just the perfect time to set a Child's Play movie because it's sort of about consumerism and wanting the new great toy, which is exactly what Chucky is. My favorite kill in the entire trailer though had to be the guy hanging onto the pipe over the table saw, and then Chucky interfaces with the thermostat to heat up the apartment, which then heats up the pipe, so he drops on it. I think that's a super smart kill. It's honestly a higher caliber than I was expecting from this movie. I don't really know why he'd be hanging onto that pipe, but hey, I'm not going to question it. I just hope that this movie is in fact rated R so we get to see him fall in a table saw. No, it's kind of sick, but that's exactly what I want to see. Now that we've talked about all the positives, it's time to get into the negatives, and unfortunately the biggest negative I have from this trailer is Chucky. We only see him a few times throughout the trailer, to be fair, but for most of it he's washed in shadow, and despite that, the CGI being used to animate him isn't convincing at all. It's very apparent and I just don't like it. That being said, I do think he looks good when he's in motion and not standing still. There's a shot that really stuck out to me in the trailer where they sort of use tilt shift photography. It's when he's dragging the knife behind him, and that one looked really good. I don't know if they're using CGI there to animate his walk, but it looks good to me. But I gotta go back to the way his face animates, especially in that shot where he smiles, because the CGI there is just so apparent. I mean, you could kind of see it in that poster they put out the other day, but man, when you see it in motion, it just doesn't look right. I think he honestly looks worse in the face specifically than pretty much every other Chucky, except maybe the one in Curse and Cult, which, to be fair, those were direct-to-DVD movies, and this is a theatrical movie. I just was hoping he'd look better. On the bright side though, I think they were sort of prepared for this, and that's why a lot of the kills have him interfacing with other objects that do the killing for him, so he can kind of sit in the background in wide shots. He is pretty small after all, so when you have him in the background, I don't think the face will look as bad as it does when it's blown up in a close-up shot like we saw in the trailer. The saving grace for Chucky though has to be his voice. We get to hear it really quickly at the end of the trailer when he says goodnight to Andy, and that's perfect.
Good night, Andy.
That's it, Chief. Mark Hamill killed it. It's a mix between Brad Dourif and the Joker. It sounds so much better than that off-screen recording I talked about a week ago, but I liked it then, and I still like it now. I think that voice is flawless. All that being said about Chucky though, literally every other aspect of the trailer was exactly what I wanted to see, and in pretty much every way it exceeded my expectations, especially in the shot work department. I wasn't expecting that at all, and I hope that extends to the final product, because I feel like if everything we've heard can be believed about this movie's story, it'll be able to pick up the weight that Chucky's animations are dropping. I'm just crossing my fingers for that. So that's what I thought of the new Child's Play trailer. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments, and subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe check out another video. Anyway guys, my name is Jimmy Champane, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.